What's up, ACL Nation? Today is all about the youth. Last week we featured our top ACL Pro female players, and this week we're talking about the youth movement as it takes over this ACL Pro division. We're also going to welcome our youngest ACL Pro ever, Ian Cripps, to the show. This is the ACL Throwdown. Yes, I'm going to have Ian Cripps on the show this week. But first, in my hashtag Trey's Takes, I want to talk about Ian Cripps as well as the top ACL youth movement that we're seeing coming into the ACL Pro division, highlight some of our under 18 players that have really taken the sport of cornhole by storm across the country for a lot of our younger players. Maybe some of them grew up as juniors in the sport or just getting involved in the past couple of years and have really made a difference so far in their communities and at the national stage. When we look at some of our top ACL pros under 18, we first have to start, of course, with two players this past season that were just unbeatable. It just seemed like at times. Trey Birchfield and then Dalton McClem. Both of them under 18, but really playing like professionals at the highest level. Trey Birchfield, obviously a world champion and really has come into his own over these past couple seasons. He started in the ACL in that juniors division, if you remember, way back when, played in the 2018 final chase against Tyler Williams in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Took home that victory and didn't say a single word in his post-game interview, and now we're getting a few more words out of him as he wins. He's a pro doubles world champion. Dalton McClem also coming up through the ranks in juniors through the ACL, his first appearance being 2018 in Kissimmee, Florida at that kickoff battle event. He had to play Jay Graham in that finals match in juniors. So and since then he's just become a superstar. Now, a two-time ACL national winner this past season alongside Kyle Malone in doubles. Dalton has really, again, the sky is the limit for him. Birchfield and McClem, you know them. I don't need to talk much about them. Let's talk about some names that may be new or some may not be as familiar with, starting with Eric Davis. Now, everybody knows Eric Davis has been playing cornhole for a number of years now, but going to make his pro division debut, and many people deem him as the flop shot master. We saw him in advanced singles win that advanced singles world championship back in Rock Hill this past world championships, and it was simply because that flop shot was unreal throughout the entire tournament. Some people call it a roll. For him, it really is almost like a hop bag, just hopping over blockers. Almost every single round, he's going to put a bag in front of the hole and then try to hop over with the next three. So anytime we're going to see him on a broadcast, the good news is for those people at home that love the crazy shots and the action and the tough shots and don't like bag for bag action, Eric Davis is going to be the player that you want to watch, because not only does he execute some of those tough shots like the flop shot and the airmail, but he also forces the opponents into those difficult shots as well. So excited to watch Eric, and really if he can keep his composure, I really think he's going to be a tough competitor in the ACL this year. Moving on, I really want to highlight Justin Stranger. This was a player that I pegged as a breakout player of the year this past season, and now that he has really broken out, he has a top 5 finish at a national in singles. He's had strong finishes at every event he's played in. He made a broadcast in doubles alongside Sean Smith back in Wilmington, Delaware on the Pro Qualifying Tour. Now that he's established himself, I'm looking for him to make that next step. What happens with that next step is consistency. And one thing I saw with Justin Stranger is his pure aggressive play style really helped him throughout the entire season. The problem is sometimes when you play aggressive, it doesn't always pay off, and in some of those instances, the composure can somewhat get to him. So what I really want to see from Justin Stranger is a next step up in composure to be able to sustain some of that top level play, and if he doesn't hit some of those aggressive shots, being able to fight back, claw back, and come back in some of those games. I'm going to highlight here Tucker Stills. It is a young gun. And really, the best thing on his resume that he had this past year, it may have been not at a non-ACL sanctioned event, but he was able to beat Jamie Graham in a match in one tournament over in Kansas City. Took Jamie Graham down, and of course, anytime you beat a world champion, man of the year, player of the year, you got to get a little bit of recognition there. Now, Tucker's play has been a little bit inconsistent, but at the same time, you see that upside that he has. I'm really looking to see if he doesn't get overwhelmed by his first opportunity to jump on that main stage and see if he can take advantage. The last two that I want to highlight are both from the Southwest Conference, one of them being my guest today, Ian Cripps, our youngest ACL pro ever. And what I love about Ian, even though he is so young, he is really just a ball of positivity, and he's so much fun to watch. And he's not really going to get down on himself, which is really something that is tough to find in a junior level player. Obviously, he's playing as an ACL pro now at just 10 years old, so really, I'm expecting Ian to come out kind of happy-go-lucky. When you get into that 13, 15, 17-year-old range is where I really start to see some of our younger players feel the pressure a little bit more. I actually think Ian may be young enough that he really doesn't even feel that pressure. He's just out there to have a good time. He's got a great family behind him, and I'm excited to talk with him and see how he competes for the rest of the season. Had a strong performance at the Galveston Gusher. Had a couple rounds that he gave up some big points to Eddie Grindersleeve, but hey, that happens to everybody. So excited to watch Ian. Last pro I want to highlight is finally Caleb Batson. This is a player that went 7-1 in the ACL Pro qualifier and to qualify to become an ACL Pro. And although I am excited to watch Caleb Batson compete in singles, I'm actually more excited to watch him compete in doubles alongside Eddie Grindersleeve, because I think Eddie Grindersleeve is ready to make that step from a top 20 player to a top 10, maybe top 5 player. He is that good. And I think these past 2 seasons, he's had instances where maybe his partner is just a little bit underperformed. He had Brandon Greger 2 years ago, who is consistently good. There was times I really want to see a little bit more out of him. And then last year, Dave Sutton certainly having an inconsistent year, had a great finish when they were up in Galveston. He was hitting everything in Galveston, but at other times in the season, just a little left to be desired. So now this year, Eddie Grindersleeve has been talking Caleb Batson up and down. So I really think if Caleb can stay consistent and not get frustrated, he is a reserved player, but that frustration is often internal, and you can sometimes see it in his body language. So if he can fix that, if he can hone that in, and he can stay consistent, or maybe sometimes he doesn't need it, if he can just get off to a hot start and look down at the other end and see Eddie Grindersleeve, I really think Grindersleeve and Batson are going to be a tough team to beat, which really sets up Batson to not have only a great breakout year in singles, but in doubles as well. That's all the time I want to take on my hashtag Trey's Takes, highlighting the youth movement in the ACL Pro division. Let's get to my conversation with ACL Pro and 10-year-old Ian Cripps to just see his energy as he gets ready to jump into his first season as an ACL Pro. What is up, ACL Nation? I have the 10-year-old phenom from the state of Louisiana, Ian Cripps, coming off of his ESPN 3 debut back at the Galveston Gusher. And Ian, after making your first broadcast, buddy, did we do any celebrating? Did mom and dad at least take you out to dinner or something like that?
We did not do any celebrating. We just sat around and chilled around the house.
Hey, I heard from someone told me you went to Galveston and you played all weekend long, and then you came home and you started throwing bags immediately as you got home. Is that serious? Did that actually happen?
Yeah, it did.
He can't wait to get the bag back in his hand. I love it, Ian. So yeah, so excited. And being only 10 years old, there's a lot of people love watching you play. And I think one of the questions that a lot of people want to ask is, when did you start playing cornhole? I mean, you're only 10 years old, so I mean, obviously you couldn't have started that long ago. But when did you start playing? What was the first time you played?
The first time I played was the first time I ever picked up a bag was on Mother's Day, really. Last year on Mother's Day.
Wow, Mother's Day. And so did you just start playing in tournaments near you? Is that how you kind of got playing?
Or not until November I started playing in tournaments. I really started just playing around the house with my uncles And then around in November, I started going to a league night and just started going to regionals and all that and playing tournaments.
Yeah, and then you just started taking everybody's money because you just started beating up on everybody. I like it. So Ian, like I said, you made that your debut, your first time on that big stage, and I remember you got a nice warm up playing against me. You whipped my butt. So I'm taking credit that I helped warm you up a little bit here. But when you got on that stage, was it nervous? Were you nervous to play on that stage for the first time?
Yeah, the first game it was real nervous, but when I got onto the second, the nerves were shaking off of me and I was ready.
Yeah, because you were playing alongside Justin, and you've played with Justin before, right? Did it help to have someone that you were familiar with as your teammate?
Kind of, because we could communicate better and we know each other better. It helped me more so I could communicate with him.
Yeah, I thought you two played absolutely phenomenal. It was a great appearance for you. It was great to meet you, and it was a really fun weekend, I thought. I know Mom and Dad must have been exhausted by the time they got you home. But so as we look forward to this season, it's gonna be your first season as an ACL pro, and you're gonna be playing with Josh Bordelon, right? And so. What do you like playing? What made you select Josh as your partner, and what are you looking forward to this year with him kind of being on the other end of the boards with you?
He was closer to us. He lives in Louisiana. We're the only pros in Louisiana. He got in contact with us, and we were like, we need to be partners. And I was like, yeah, we need to. Because we kind of throw switch. Like, he doesn't really like stickier bags, but I'm fine with slicker bags.
Mm-hmm.
I'll throw them. And we're looking to get in the top 10 in doubles and just have fun this year. Really.
There you go. That's a mentality to have. You mentioned bags real quick. So I know you're still you told me before, you're still kind of looking through different bags that you want to throw for this season. But in particular, is there anything special about a bag that you really, really want to have? Are you looking for a really sticky side bag and then a really fast slick side, or are you looking for an all slick bag? Is there anything when you're looking for a bag that fits you, that's perfect for you, that you're really looking for?
I like kind of the stickier bags so you can flop with them, and they might not fall as good, but I can definitely get them fall good. And I like blocking on players because some like to go hole for hole, and if you block on them, they sometimes miss.
Yeah, that's true. I got to see that firsthand when you started blocking and then rolling over me, and then you just beat me down, Ian. You just beat me down. No, it was a lot of fun. But okay, so last question. Like I said, this is your first pro division this coming season. We talked about you playing with Josh, but you as a player, okay, you're gonna go in as a singles player too, and just 10 years old. Do you have any goals? Is there anything you really want to do as you get into your first season as an ACL pro?
I want to kind of get to a higher level and get top 10. And like me and Josh, we want to do is have fun. It don't matter if I get the top 10. All I want is fun, but that's my goal, to get top 10.
I love it. Top 10 and fun. We combine those two things, and hey, it's a win-win. Ian, thank you so much. You did a fantastic job. I mean, your interview skills are already through the roof. I don't know what much more we can improve on, but we're going to keep getting you as much attention as we can. We love having you in the pro division. We thank you so much, and I appreciate you taking some time to chat with me on the Throwdown here.
Yeah, thank you for wanting to chat with me.
Thanks, Ian. Oh man, Ian, I am so excited for his career in the American Cornhole League as a superstar. He's already had a great start to the year, that Galveston Gusher, but the sky is the limit for this young superstar. Well, we're getting ready to fully release our full ACL National schedule, but I can give you a little hint here. That first ACL National of the season going to be in Tampa, Florida. You can tune in and watch that. All of our ACL pros will be headed down to there the weekend of that big game at the end of the NFL season. We're going to be alongside them. That game will be in Tampa, Florida. We'll be right outside in the Lakeland Center. It's going to be an incredible weekend. Also going to bring back a little bit of Super Hole that weekend, so it's going to be a ton of fun. Stay tuned for more details on that, as well as the release of the rest of the ACL schedule. That's all the time that we got this week for the American Cornhole League. This has been your host, Trey Ryder. We'll see you guys next week.